What's up, freaks and geeks, and welcome to episode 45 of The Good, the Bad, and the Freaky. Ian and I are here in the Freakopolis Geekery comic book section with a bunch of awesome things to talk about.
Yeah, this week we're talking Image Plus, Bojack, Horseman, Half-Life 3, and the Mighty Thor.
Stick around after the jump to see our thoughts on this week's nerd news. Let's kick us off with Ian's Good this week, one of the most hotly anticipated Heroclix sets of the whole year, and you've got something to show us.
Yes, absolutely. The Mighty Thor, is one of the most awaited Heroclix sets of the whole year for multiple reasons. One, it comes with a bunch of awesome colossals, one of which I'm about to open. And two, it has the sweet updated rules that we mentioned in the last The Good, the Bad, and the Freaky. So, everyone's way into it. Let's see what we have here. Cut the tapes, but I did not look into it. Ooh! Oh, it's Miss Marvel!
Oh, man.
A big ol' Miss Marvel, yeah. With the updated cards, it shows her whole click base. Kamala Khan, that's the one. Very cool. That's a sweet
awesome
sculpt.
Yeah, I think it's, a super rare?
Yeah, that's gold.
Awesome.
Yeah, digging it a lot.
So, anything particularly interesting there?
She's a 250-pointer at max, which means really cheap to put on your team. You could even, in a 300-point battle, you could play her at max and have a little room left over for a support, so...
That makes a lot of sense given she's not like this cosmic threat. She's
No.
sort of a street-level hero, and
Yeah.
stuff, but she can happen to be giant.
But that is a super interesting colossal to get. I would not see that one
No,
coming.
me either. I told you, it was a little lighter. Very interesting. Cool, so yeah, also a whole 70-plus regular size set.
Yeah, no, that set looks awesome, including really cool Thor, really cool Hulks, She-Thor, so there's a ton of different cool stuff to get in on this set.
Very exciting. Yeah, we've got a ton of these in stock. They're released today, August 30th. So yeah, very excited to see those cracked open in the shop.
And we have a draft this Saturday, so if you want to come in and get a little competitive play in and check out some of the new figures, this Saturday is the day to do it.
Very exciting. We'll move on to My Good. My Good is Image Plus #1.
Mm-hmm.
This is a relaunched magazine coming out of Image Comics that I found really valuable for a number of different reasons. So it has a ton of insights and interviews with creators that have books with Image, like Zach Kaplan. Robert Kirkman has a really cool interview in this issue. Yeah, and it was on my pull list. I'm very excited to see it here now. But the most exciting thing for me anyways, and probably for some of you, is that there's like multi-page samples of the books being solicited in previews this month, that you get a real good sense of what's going on in these books, what sort of art style it has. Sometimes, you know, the description they give you in previews and the cover and the creative team attached isn't quite enough to sell you on a book, but this gives you the chance to really get a good look at what's happening in those books. So I found that really valuable, on top of the really cool insights coming from the creators.
That is really cool, especially for image lovers like us. Being able to get a preview like that of the actual comic book, a couple pages to flip through, is really valuable when you're looking into these creator-owned pieces of work. So
Yeah, I was very excited to read through this. It, like I said, had really cool insights into the creators' works, plus those sample pages. Overall makes a really enjoyable experience. So this is the first issue of the relaunch. We have a bunch of these, but they're continuing to do it throughout the fall at least. That's what they've solicited so far. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on it, and it'll be a big source of what I'm pulling in the future.
super exciting. So
Yeah.
thank you for that, Image. True previews to look
Yeah,
at.
yeah, very much so. We'll move on to our bads, though. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's fine with me. So I have a pretty big bad. Did you wake up last week and feel the internet kind of just scream out in terror for a moment there? That was because it is the official death of Half-Life 3, and all dreams of it have been stomped into the ground, and therefore a fifth of memes have died.
Yeah, it is disappointing. Obviously something that's been joked about for a long time, but I think a lot of people still held on to hope.
Oh, even I did. Every once in a while you would see something that looked like maybe a true leak, and you'd be like, wow, it could be just around the corner. Anytime Valve could kick down the doors and say, here's the game you've all been waiting for.
No longer. It sort of solidifies Valve's place as a entertainment provider instead of a creator.
Exactly.
Which is obviously very disappointing. I mean, Steam is great, but those Valve games, are what started it all. So.
Yeah. So how this came about is the original writer for the Half-Life series worked for Valve in the early 2000s, Mark Laidlaw. he made a post on GitHub that was a synopsis of the plot of Half-Life 3, and many people on the internet, of course, said, well, you can say a ton of stuff about Half-Life 3, that doesn't mean I'm going to think it's true, till they looked at the comments and saw that many former and current Valve officials were commenting on this in ways that really made it seem true. And then you look at the name Mark Laidlaw, the original writer, and you finally admit that this is the end of that dream.
Very much so. So yeah, pretty much well confirmed now at this point. There's a lot of interesting information coming out of those notes on GitHub, as well as previews of levels and things that you can find online. But
Yeah.
that's about as far as it's going to go.
There's still a lot of hope that a player-made expansion for the game would be made. Obviously, the source engine is quite available for people to work with, so maybe the dream of Half-Life 3 will live on. It sounded like the game was going to be really freaking cool, so I'm sad that it's put to end, but actually kind of glad to see us move onward and maybe see some new titles out of Valve or something.
That is a bummer. Another bummer this year, happening this summer, our summer blockbusters were kind of lackluster
Yeah.
in the box office department, as it were. Summer box office is down about 16% over 2016.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a significant amount, really. Superhero movies, on the other hand, are doing reasonably well. Wonder Woman,
Kicked butt.
yep, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2,
It's a good movie for sure.
Spider-Man Homecoming, they all were well-rated, well-received, and made some money for people, which is awesome. I mean, those are some of our favorite movies. But that's not to say we don't like the other sort of side of genre as well, but those things were not super successful. Big flops like The Dark Tower, Valerian, The City of a Thousand Planets, those really did not perform near expectation and let those big studios down quite a bit. Even franchises like Pirates of the Caribbean, Transformers, along with others, performed lacklusterly. So definitely a bummer in terms of, I didn't see many movies this summer either.
No, I caught the important superhero movies, but kind of just kept it out with the rest of the big action budget ones.
Yeah, I think I saw those three and then Dunkirk. Those were like the only
Right.
movies I actually went and saw. So maybe you guys enjoyed them. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't go see them. We'd love to know why you didn't make it to the box office to see these in the comments below. But yeah, definitely a bit of a bummer that things weren't as great as they were hyped up to be.
I think a lot of those franchises, their sequels and whatnot, have just been drawn out so long, and many of them that we really enjoy and are looking forward to, like Pacific Rim or something along those lines, the huge budget action movies, really are just, up and coming. They're not
out
quite
yet.
here
They're not
yet,
here.
yeah. And so this summer has been, pretty lackluster on that end.
Definitely. Well, here's to next summer. We got some big movies coming out.
Yes.
So we'll keep looking towards the future. And in the meantime, we'll move on to our freakies. What do you got?
So my freaky this week was an interesting little note that I got out of this month's new previews, and that is that one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Max Bemis of Say Anything, an alternative group that really was pretty formative for my teenage years, is now taking on Moon Knight for Marvel, which is pretty awesome because it just kind of goes to show that a lot of these people and characters that I looked up to in my younger years have moved into this industry, weirdly enough. So we got Max Bemis and Gerard Way now, so it just really is pretty crazy to see that happen.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. He, of course, is now writing Centipede for Dynamite Comics, which isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I've been enjoying it. I jumped on when I found out he was the writer. He's written for Marvel in the past.
He has.
And I think Moon Knight's a really good avenue for him. He's been quite vocal about his own mental health issues, and Moon Knight obviously plays into that quite a bit. But if he could make a really exciting, cool Mark Spector story, I'm totally into it.
I think he can, absolutely. And funnily enough, I was going through some of my old albums this morning, and I saw that one of his albums, Say Anything by Say Anything, and shows the album art is a kid in a superhero thing reaching out towards the moon. So, it's just kind of a little mind blow there. That album came out in 2009, so maybe he's had aspirations about this for a while.
Plotting this for years.
Yep. So pretty cool to see you. Good on you, Max Bemis.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out just for the combo of Moon Knight and Max Bemis alone. It's exciting. We'll move on to something in the Netflix field. This is my freaky. I think one of Netflix's most touching and heart-breaking pieces of work is getting its season 4 landing September 8th, and that is, of course, the cartoon Bojack Horseman.
Bojack Horseman,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love this show. Like I said, very poignant, heartbreaking, touching. It's a cartoon about an anthropomorphized, washed-up sitcom star that maintains a lot of humanity and a ton of funny moments as well. So it's a nice balance, a great overarching story. It's not sort of serial. You've got these season arcs that affect the whole world at large, and I'm very excited for the 4th season.
That's very interesting that they're continuing along with it, and I mean, it deserves to be, but I think it's kind of only just now begun to pick up the viewership that it deserves, because really it was overlooked in the beginning as maybe this weird, anthropomorphic, like, experiment going on, but then it grows to become, like, some of the coolest characters to get invested into, and really, heartfelt and funny at the same time, so definitely worth watching if you haven't yet.
We'll find out in Season 4 where Bojack has been. The trailer dropped last week and had his journalist friend sort of calling him up and saying, hey, where you been? Here's what's going on in Hollywood right now. There's a lot of things happening, and, I hope you're all right. And, of course, Bojack, we only see glimpses of him, so it'll be interesting to see after sort of Season 3's cliffhanger where he's at necessarily. We know, the world continues to spin without him, and I'm very excited to see the next take on this very flawed, exciting character.
Poor Bojack.
It's tough to watch sometimes, but I really enjoy it. And that'll do it for this week's The Good, the Bad, and the Freaky. Thank you guys so much. If you could, or you feel like it, like, share, subscribe, comment, or better yet, stop down to the Freakopolis Geekery. Get yourself a colossal or a regular booster or an Image Plus, any of the above. We'd love to see you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.